Good evening, Second Baptist, and welcome to Family Check In. I'm excited tonight. We had a wonderful day. Welcome. Get your watch parties going. We're thankful for Aaron Johnson, who's already on. Sister Mincy, we missed you this morning. Brother Alvin, we are grateful for you as well, and thankful for that. Brother Wilkerson, thank you so much for sharing with us tonight. And please, the rest of you tag in. Let us know that you're on. We've got a really good program tonight. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit. But before that, today, and of course, Sister Daisy's absence today, she's still on hiatus, and so we're working through some issues to get her back on. But we're really thankful for all of you today, and I'm here. I'm present and accounted for. We just came back from sharing with Pastor Mukinai and Sister Priscilla Mukinai on their 7th pastoral anniversary. We had a wonderful time over there, and we're grateful for so many members that are coming. Our ministerial staff came out in great numbers. Our deacons ministry came out, and members came out as well to support. And some other local pastors came to show him appreciation and support him. He and the First family, and we're just really thankful and grateful for that. And we love Pastor Mukinai and Sister Priscilla, and what a wonderful time we had in the Lord. Thank you so much, and we're praying that God will continue to bless them and keep them. Also, we're excited today. I'm excited because today was Come Back to Church Sunday. We missed the National Come Back to Church Sunday, so we had our own personal one. So I was talking to a pastor today and was explaining what we did, and he said, "Well, I thought you guys were open for a long time." I said, "We were, but we still want to gather all the members to come back in." And today we had a wonderful, wonderful turnout of individuals who came to share with us today. Some of the members we have not seen in a while, and some who have been coming sporadic. All of you came today, and wonderful. 8 o'clock and 11 o'clock. What a great, great turnout today, and what a wonderful time we had in the Lord. And we're really thankful for all of you for your continued support through this pandemic. We've done some things differently during the pandemic. And you have, we don't live for offering on Sunday morning, but you still give by whatever means you give, whether it's through electronic giving, whether you mail it in, drop it in, send it by somebody, however you do it. We're really thankful for your continued support in the ministry of Second. We're really thankful for all of you. So we had a wonderful day worshiping with God, and I was really happy. My brother came and shared with us today, my oldest brother, and he shared today with us, and so we were really grateful for that fellowship as well. And we had Pastor Knox all the way from Philadelphia, Thankful Baptist Church, share with us this morning at 8 o'clock, stopped by to visit as well, and we had a great time in the Lord. I do want to remind you, Bible study we have a great time in Bible study. We're studying the book of Revelation, and please come, please be a part. We are in person and virtual, whatever suits your fancy, but please be a part of our virtual Bible study, or we'll be in person. Either way, we love to have you and share with us. Also, do want to remind you of our noonday services every Wednesday as well at 12 o'clock. We're also grateful for Sister Speller for joining in, Sister Adams, Sister Mary Ware. We're praying that God bless you richly. Benita Moore, we're thankful for you, and Pastor and Mrs. Stephanie Peterson, all the way from Pedrick Town. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. Call me tomorrow. You from our regular Monday call, Reverend. I got some things I want to share with you tomorrow. But listen, we had a great time in service, as we said, and the power team did a wonderful job. Not only at the 11 o'clock hour, but also at the 8 o'clock hour. We're grateful for LaQuay and the musicians for blessing us. We went to Jamaica this morning and had a great time. And then at 11 o'clock, the power team came and blessed us. And so after that, we're going to come back, and I get one of my great friends with us today that's going to talk about some very, very important issues that's facing Atlantic City, Atlantic County, and our state. My good long-time friend, one of the first persons I met here in New Jersey when I came some 28 years ago, and we remained very, very good friends in the person of Councilman Kaleem Shabazz. He's also the president of the NAACP of Atlantic City. And so after selection from the choir, we're going to come right back, and you're going to be as blessed by it as I was this morning, and all the others who were in service or watched it virtually. I'll be right back.
I'll never leave you. I'll never leave you. What a promise. I'll never leave you. I'll never leave you. If you will only, trust me. Trust me. Trust me. Come on, just trust me. Come on, let's say it again for somebody. I'll never leave you. That's his promise. Whatever you're going through, just know he'll never leave you. You won't be alone. He said, I'll never leave you. I'll never leave you. If you will only, put your trust in me. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. And then he says, I'll fight your battle. I'll fight your battle. I'll fight your battle. I'll fight your battle. You're not in it alone. I'll fight your battle. I'll fight your trust me. Come on, one more time. I'll fight your battle. 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 I'll fight your trust me. Trust me. Trust me. I am that I am. That I am. I have all power. Deliver you. If you will. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. He said, I am that I am. That I am. I have all power. And he said, I will deliver you. If you trust me. Trust me. If you will trust me. Trust me. Trust me. If you will only trust me. Trust me. Trust me. If you trust me. Anybody willing to trust him? Oh, if you will only trust me. Put your faith in me. Put your trust in me. Yeah, yeah. If you will only trust me. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. If you trust me. Trust me.
What a blessing that was. I know you enjoyed it as we did. Oh, I mean, the spirit was high in this place on today. Thank you, Brother Jennings, and all of the power team for what you do and your consistency and the anointing that's on your life. Well, we are really grateful. I do want to welcome a few more people on. Sister Shira, grateful to have you with us tonight. Sister DeMolin and Sister Leggett, we are grateful for you and all of you, and Sister Speller. And Sister Adams, thank you so much for joining us. Sister Benita Moore, good to have you on with us tonight. So, but we got some really good information. Please let everybody know. You need to hear this. We're going to be talking with Councilman Kaleem Shabazz, President of NAACP, and my third ward council person about a lot of the stuff that's happening here today. Welcome, Mr. Shabazz, to Family Check-In.
Thank you so much, Reverend Days. It's always a pleasure for me to be on this show. And as you said, we have been longtime friends since you've been here. Happy 28th anniversary in advance. Looking forward to your celebration and lifting you up as one of our cherished leaders in the community. And my boss, you're my constituent, but you're my boss. And I'm glad to say that I am connected with you in works of goodness.
Yeah, we've done a lot of stuff together over the years, and we want to talk again. We have to get our African American Male Conference back going, so we want to talk about that. Not this today, but we'll deal with that some time later. But we have a lot of stuff going on in that very important stuff. We've got the change of government that's on the ballot. We've got school board. We've got legislatures that we're voting on this midterm election. So let's start. Where do you want to start it? There's so much to talk about. Where do you want to start?
Let me start with a educational colleague of mine said that you have to repeat something 3 times for people to actually get it. So let me start as how we'll close out, Reverend, inviting everyone to the NAACP Candidates Night, which is going to be Tuesday, October 18th from 6 to 9 p.m. at Martin Luther King School Complex. Tuesday, October 18th, 6 to 9, Martin Luther King Complex, which, as we all know, is 1700 Memorial Avenue in Atlantic City. The NAACP doesn't endorse candidates, but we encourage people to register to vote, to understand the issues, and to vote their interests. And we are expecting candidates for Congress, our 2nd District, to be in attendance. We're expecting candidates for Commissioner at Large, what used to be Freeholder. And let me just say, for information, for people who live in Atlantic City, we are now in the 1st Commissioner District, which is Atlantic City, Ventnor, Margate, and Longport. That's Atlantic City, Ventnor, Margate, and Longport. We're going to have those candidates there. And also candidates for the school board election. It was 6 candidates, it's now 5. One of the gentlemen who was a candidate has dropped out, so we will have those 5 candidates there, Reverend. And I'm happy to report that every time we've had a candidates night, all the candidates show up because they know that our candidates night is not a debate. It's a chance for the candidates to talk directly to voters about the questions that we're going to bring forth and the issues related to our community. It's also going to be carried live on WEHA Radio 88.7 and 100.3. And I want to thank our brother beloved William Hawks, the owner, the founder, and the president of WEHA. He has consistently over the years broadcast the candidates night. So we invite everybody to the candidates night. Please underscore it, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Tuesday, October 18th, 6 to 9 p.m. Come to Martin Luther King Complex. We're going to start on time. It's going to be the candidates talking directly to you, answering questions related to our community, and we want you all to come. If for some reason you can't make it, tune in to WHA 88.7 and 100.3 FM to hear the event live.
Well, first of all, let me say, I've lived next to MLK all these years. Kids go there and went there, and I never knew that the address was Memorial. Why you have Martin Luther King School that's right next to MLK Avenue, and this address is Memorial Avenue? We got to work on that.
Yeah, but I just said in case people put it in their GPS if they're in Pleasantville or coming from offshore. But we want people to come out, Reverend. It's very important that they hear the candidates from themselves. In fact, I think in our area, the area of people of color in Atlantic City, I think this is the only debate that's going to be held in Atlantic City that I'm familiar with. I don't think there's, not debate, candidates night. It's the only chance to see the candidates in Atlantic City during this campaign that I'm familiar with. I don't think there's been any other candidates night. So the NACP is proud to keep our tradition of having the candidates speak directly to the voters.
Well, let's talk about the change of government. Can you talk a little bit about change of government, how that impacts the city? Who's initiating this as well?
Well, glad you asked me that, Reverend. I would encourage and urge all the residents of Atlantic City to please vote no on the change of government. Please vote no on the change of government. And my sister, who thinks she's my boss, she admonished me. She said, don't get into convoluted political calculations. Make it plain so people can understand why it's important that they vote no. First of all, it's important that they vote no. This is a $100,000 expense that the taxpayers don't need. That's one of the main reasons. It's an unnecessary, unneeded expense. Probably just as important is the fact that the present administration that we have is working in concert with the council to move the city forward. This is the first administration, Reverend, that has given the taxpayers a rebate of $500. This is an administration that has had tax decreases for 2 years. This is an administration that is working on issues that are very relevant to city voters, such as public safety, such as senior citizen services, multicultural services, youth programs that are vital to our citizens. And we're going to have in the next couple of weeks a very big, major announcement about public safety that I'm sure the residents are going to be impressed with. So there's really no reason to move the elections that we have in June, which is the primary election, to May for a nonpartisan election.
Well, Kaleem, can you explain that a little bit more? In terms of what is the change of government? What does that entail?
What it would mean would be that people would not run as Democrats or Republicans or independents. They would just run on their own.
So there would be no primaries.
So there would be no primaries. The election would be in May, and then if the persons who ran did not get 50% plus one, Reverend, there would be a runoff in July. My contention, along with the mayor and most of the council, is that is ridiculous, that's unnecessary, that dilutes the voting strength of our residents in Atlantic City, and it is not based on any public policy rationale. There's no reason to move the election from June back to May. We moved the school board elections, which is the lowest turnout, to June and November to get a higher turnout, and that has worked. To people who say that we need to make this move, I point to Don Guardian. Don Guardian was and is a Republican. Don Guardian was and is a person who is gay. Don Guardian, at the time he ran for mayor, had never run for public office before. He ran against an incumbent who was a Democrat in a Democratic stronghold, Atlantic City. And Don Guardian won. What's my point? My point is that people who say that we need to move to a nonpartisan form of government are trying to mislead people. It's a sham, it's a hoax, it's a trick. And an example is Don Guardian, who was a first-time person running for office, a Republican, a professed gay man in Atlantic City, beat a Democratic incumbent and won for mayor. So the point is that people vote for a person who they believe is qualified for the office that they're running for. And that's why we need to keep the present structure that we have in Atlantic City.
Well, I think it's important because, we have not heard a lot about change of government. It was not even, many of us have it kind of came under the radar and got on the ballot without a lot of input from us. You get enough signatures, you can put anything on the ballot.
Right.
And but who's behind this in terms of this? The Republican Party behind this, or is it what is the genesis of this effort and move?
I'm glad you asked that question. One of my constituents asked me that just the other day, Reverend. And this constituent, I won't reveal the agenda because I don't want to use their name, but this constituent said, Councilman, didn't we just have an effort to change the form of government? And I said, yes, and we defeated it overwhelmingly. And now this constituent said, and they were correct, they said, we pushed them out the front door, now it seems like they're coming in the back door with the same kind of effort. And I said yes to that constituent. It looks like this is an effort to, one, undercut the voting strength of Atlantic City, two, to suppress and depress the voter turnout in Atlantic City, and three, to try to control the politics of Atlantic City. And I think we should vote no. All you have to do is ask, who profits by Atlantic City not being able to come out in strong numbers for the candidate of their choice? And I think the likely suspect is the Republican Party from Donald Trump on down. And I think we should vote no on that effort. We have an administration and a city council that's moving forward, that's making progress. Is everything 100%? No. But if we use that as a yardstick, 100% agreement or 100% work product, then we wouldn't elect anybody to any position. In fact, I would submit that if that was the rationale, those of us who have the ability to work, we could never work or make a promotion if you had to be 100%. So no, things aren't perfect, but we are making progress. We have transparency. And if we keep this form of government, which I strongly suggest, we will make even more progress. And here's the kicker. June that's coming in 2023, all of the ward council are up. So if people are not satisfied with their ward councilman, they can go in June and vote for another candidate, or they can be a candidate themselves. So we still retain that option, which I state and believe is a much better option than going back to nonpartisan. And again, I say vote no on the change of government.
Thank you, Khalima. I really appreciate it. You spoke earlier concerning the new Commissioner Ernest Corsi is running and represented Atlantic City and Pleasantville, and now we redistrict that. And I went on record, I was against that. I didn't think that was a great idea. I failed in that effort, and so that's so that's in place. Right. That now it diluted the base, and now we're talking about the island, Absecon Island, all the way down to does it go to Longport?
Longport, yeah.
All the way go to Longport,
right?
And so you already know if you know the geographic location. And also the makeup of that geographic location, it really dilutes the base. We were guaranteed that we had at least one representative on the county commission. Now we it's a lot of work has to be done, all the way up to Longport. And I think can you talk a little bit about how important it is now, especially for Atlantic City to turn out to vote? It's greatly important because we already know the base is diluted, and if we don't go out in masses, all the time in midterm elections, sometimes it's a low voter turnout, and we're really concerned about that. And so, can you give us a little some information as it relates to what we need to do?
I'm glad you brought that point up. Ernest Corsi, and I'm biased because I am his treasurer of long standing, and he is a friend for over 35 years. And I think that putting on my Democratic hat, not my NACP hat, because we don't endorse candidates, but Ernest Corsi is doing a tremendous job as county commissioner. And we need everybody in Atlantic City to get out and vote. But I predict that he will even have surprising strength in Ventnor, Margate, and Longport. He has a mail piece that is going out as we speak. In fact, most people have got it in the Down Beach area with Steve Persky, the former senator, the former judge, endorsing Ernest Corsi, and in the mail piece with him, shaking hands. And Senator Persky still has great respect really all over Atlantic County, but especially in Margate, where he lives, and in Ventnor, which is obviously the neighboring city, and Longport. So Commissioner Corsi is getting strong support in Ventnor. I was at an event for him the other day. Strong support. Ventnor, Margate, and Longport, I think people are going to be surprised at the voting strength that he has. He's an incumbent. He has a record. People know him. He speaks to the issues. And I think that in Atlantic City, we just have to get out. Let me say this. Midterm election is very important. You said it right, Reverend. That's why I'm so strong on not moving the elections because we have a low turnout in midterm elections. If we have a May election, we'll have a lower turnout. And if we have to have a runoff in July, we'll have a lower turnout still. So we need to make sure that we are connecting with people to get out to vote, to impress upon them that this is a very, very important election. All elections are important, but this year is a midterm year, and we need to make a statement. And one of those statements is by registering to vote, and not only registering to vote, getting out to vote. So I think that we will see that happen in Atlantic City. I know people are starting to talk about it. As we get closer to Election Day, we have 23 days to election, and I think that Commissioner Corsi, although we're not taking anything for granted, I think that as people realize that it's a new district, Lang City, Margate, Ventnor, Longport, that they'll turn out.
Well, let's talk about this as well. It's important that all of us get there and vote. This morning I made some announcements about deadlines, to register to vote, about early voting. We're also looking at putting together a Souls to the Poll that we can pull the community together to go out on a Sunday or after the services and go. And you and I have talked a little bit about that just prior to beginning. So give us those dates and what people need to do if they're not registered. How do they register? Where they need to go to register? If people are going to be out of town and want to do some early voting, what do they need to do for early voting? How do they get their ballots? How to do mail-in ballots? Can you talk a little about that?
Okay. Very important. Thank you so much, Reverend. Very important. The deadline to register to vote for the November election is October 18th, which is Tuesday, same day that we're having the candidates night at Martin Luther King for the NACP. The deadline to get a mail-in ballot, if you want to vote by mail, is November the 1st to apply to the County Board of Elections to get a mail-in ballot. People who already got mail-in ballots can already turn their mail-in ballot. If they have their mail-in ballot at their house, I would encourage you to fill it out, vote no on change of government, and take that to the county building, and you can drop it into the monitored mailbox. Early voting starts October 29th to November 3rd. October 29th to November 3rd, early voting. And I would encourage you, Reverend, I'm so happy to hear you say souls to the polls again this year. We did it last year. It was very effective. We had a lot of people who came to vote. And the NACP will be a partner with the Fellowship of Churches, with Second Baptist, to make sure that we can get people on that Sunday after service to go vote. Very, very important. Election Day is November 8th. The polls are open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Tuesday, November 8th, 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. So it's easy to vote in in New Jersey. You can register to vote, obviously, at the County Board of Elections, which is right across from City Hall. You can even vote online if you go online to the New Jersey State Secretary of State website. You can register to vote online, and you can register to vote with any NACP member. If you call us, we will come out and register you to vote if you live in Atlantic City. But those are ways you can register to vote. Online, in person, you can register to vote. But Tuesday, October 18th is the deadline if you're not registered, if you want to register, if you want to vote November 8th. Let me also say, for people who are on probation or parole, as a result of a statewide organizing effort, you can now register to vote. If you're on probation or parole, you can register and you can vote now in New Jersey. And we would encourage anybody who's in that situation, or they have relatives or friends or family in that situation, tell them, please, ma'am, and please, sir, register and you can vote.
You know, your sister, Sister Jowers, is our tremendous advocate for, for voting, getting people registered and giving information. She gave me my cheat sheet today. I really appreciate that. Maybe we need, I'm have to reach out to Sister Jowers. I know you're listening. You should be listening. If you're not, your brother's on and I'm on, so that's a guarantee you listening. Maybe we need to do some voter registration right here at Second these next few Sundays to make sure that everybody here is registered. We're really thankful to the members of Second because they have a community consciousness. They know the importance of voting, what it took for us to be able to vote, and we know, and I think, let me put your NAACP hat on, and we know that there's a tremendous move against access to voting, disenfranchisement of many of the voters in the country. And it's a national thing. We're living in the 21st century, and one of the most important rights that we have is under attack. And that's why it's so important that, we get out to vote, because there's so many. We talked about, they say all the time that, national issues are local issues are national, that, it's important. Even with the redistricting that that we just had with District 1, we really need to be mindful of that. So let's talk about the dangers that are facing this country, and democracy like never before. You and I have these discussions all the time. But can you talk about it with your NAACP hat in terms of the threat that we're facing when it comes to voters' rights?
Reverend, thank you. That is a very, very serious issue. As you know, a couple weeks ago, I was at the Black Caucus with my colleague, Councilman Randolph, and we attended several workshops on voting suppression, on voting rights. And as we speak now, the NAACP is mounting legal attacks against people who are trying to stop us from registering to vote and stop us from voting and making it more difficult for us to vote. That's something that I feel strongly about. And my reply to people who say, Shabazz, why should I vote? You and Reverend Dave's talking about voting doesn't make any difference. I would say to you, sister, I would say to you, brother, that look at the lengths that people are going to stop African Americans, Hispanics, young people from voting. Look at the money that they are spending. Look at the laws that they are passing. It's been over 350 laws we've calculated in the NAACP national office. Over 350 laws to stop people from voting, to make it harder for people to voting, to try to stop souls to the polls from being effective, to passing a law that says that if people are standing in line that's against the law, to give them a bottle of water or to give them a sandwich in some states. So I saw Arthur, and she was writing a book, and she said in America, when we make progress socially or politically, when we talk about people of color, there's always a pushback. And that's one of the pushbacks. People realize the importance of voting. They realize the power of voting. That's why it's an organized effort by conservative elements, mostly Republicans. I hate to report that, but that's the truth. Mostly the Republican Party that is trying to take us back, and we can't let that happen. All these efforts that you see all across the country to make it harder for people to vote, there's a guy running in Pennsylvania for governor, and he wants to make everybody re-register to vote across the state, which is crazy, but he's running on that platform. There are people in other areas, they don't want to let college students vote from the college that they're going to actively to make it harder for them to vote. So that says two things to me, Reverend. One, it says that those forces who are against progress and who are against people of color moving forward see that we are making progress and see that the vote is important. And two, it shows me that they think they're going to be successful with these suppression tactics. I believe they're not going to be successful. I think that people realize the importance of voting. And even if they don't commit to vote, I think they realize something is going on. So it's our job in the next 22, 23 days to encourage people. I was talking to a group of students, and I said to them, Reverend, that they're going to see commercials on TV, they're going to see commercials on social media, they're going to see newspaper commercials, they're going to receive mailers, their parents, and them if they register to vote from different candidates, encouraging them to vote for that particular candidate or that question. But the most important advocate is the individual person who's listening in, watching us tonight. If they reach out to their circle, their friends, their church members, their mosque members, their synagogue members, their club members, their neighbors, and they make an effort to ask the people to register to vote, that's more important than all of us in elected office can do, all of us in ACP can do. But that's why I would encourage everyone, make yourselves a committee of one to get people to vote, and encourage people, or those of you in Atlantic City, to come out Tuesday, October 18th, 6 to 9 p.m. at MLK School Complex to actually see the candidates. And if you can't make it, listen to them on WHA 88.7 and 100.3 FM.
You know, I just got a text from your sister that says early voting is October 29th through November 6th.
I said November 2nd. Okay.
Yeah, November 6th. And so
Okay.
she just corrected you.
Well, that shows she's listening.
Yeah, I told you she was listening.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we got to get our voter right. I'm really thankful for your astuteness and being NWCP chair and being my council president, my councilman. I'm forecasting something.
I hear you.
I'm prophesying. But we're really thankful for you coming on and sharing. You know, every time you come on, every time we have a discussion, it's always meaningful. It's always important, and a lot of times we get in very in-depth discussions. And and I'm really grateful for you being my councilman and being a friend of ours and a friend of Second, because you show up all the time at Second. And not running for anything, not looking for anything, but you just come and share with us because you've been a tremendous friend of Second Baptist Church. Give us some final words that you wanna encourage us. You want to give us drop some last bit of wisdom to the members. And well, before I do that, we don't have viewers just from Atlantic City. We got them from all across South Jersey, across the state, and across the nation who's sharing it. And it doesn't matter where you are, whether you are Atlantic City, Atlantic County, somewhere else, Salem County, or up in Newark, where others are watching us and sharing tonight, or whether you're in South Carolina, California, wherever you might be. Voting is important, and the issues that we have is important everywhere, because whatever happens in this midterm election, nationally, locally, it's going to impact all of us. There's going to be, you know, a ripple effect everywhere, and we've got to, you know, so voting is so important that all of us got to do it. All of us got to get out, and whoever your candidate is, wherever you might live, wherever your domicile, wherever it is, it's important for you to get out and vote, especially, you know, these midterms. You know, who's going to control the House, who's going to control the Senate. And we've got to make sure that we do our very best effort, that, you know, whatever happens, that we've done what we're supposed to do. Brother Shabazi, you got a closing remarks and whatever bits of wisdom you'd like to share with our viewing family.
Right, Reverend, thank you. It's always an honor, always a pleasure to be on this program. And like I say, I am a supporter and a lover of Second. I'm glad my sister called in. Like I said, she instructed me before I came on the program, and she corrected me. October 29th to November 6th is early voting, and I stand corrected. October 29th to November 6th, early voting. Please early vote if that's your preference. Souls to the Polls, please support that effort. Souls to the Polls is an important part of what we do for people of color, and we need to encourage that. Lift that up, and we in the NAACP will be supporting a Reverend and the Fellowship of Churches 200% to have that. We didn't touch on some national issues, but Reverend, you're right. If the Congress doesn't stay in the hands of people who want to move us forward, that's going to hurt President Biden. That's going to hurt the progressive efforts that we want to move forward. That's going to play in the hands of the people who want to take women's health decisions out of their hands. And for the life of me, I don't understand why men, and it's mostly men, want to make a decision about whether a woman should carry her pregnancy to term or not. That should be a decision for the woman and her family and the health professionals that the woman is working with. That shouldn't be a government decision. There's no room in anyone's bedroom for government to decide what a woman should do with her pregnancy. And I think that's on the ballot. We have a very strong congressional candidate here, Tim, who's doing great work, and we need to look at him very seriously for Congress as we come to the closing days of the election. The other thing, with regard to the first district, and this is really going to test the experiment, not experiment, the new vision for inclusion and diversity on the County Board of Freeholders. And you did state, Reverend, your position was we shouldn't change. The position of people who said that we could change and expand diversity was that if you have Atlantic City, Ventnor, Margate, Longport in District 1 and have Pleasantville in District 2, you have the opportunity to have more diversity on the County Board of Commissioners. That's going to be tested in this election to see how that thesis turns out. And people ran some numbers. They looked at the Democratic performance, Democratic small d, and they said that could happen. I think we'll see on November 8th if that pans out. But that's an important issue. Atlantic City change of government. I have to make include that in my final remarks.
Well, that's not your final remarks. I got you know, someone just put a long question in, and I think it merits a response to be placed before you. And I'm going to try to summarize it.
Okay.
Truncate it. Give you the abridged version. Of this, but
the Cliff Notes version.
Yeah, it's basically dealing with voter apathy based on, you know, people vote and look forward for a change, and sometimes it doesn't happen, especially when it comes to black and brown.
Right.
And we talk about changes coming to a community, and, you know, promises, and nothing happens, and people are so frustrated that they don't see things happen in the city. And you know, you probably read the long article that was just done on CRDA.
I did.
With you know, all the money that CRD spent and wasted. You know, we got I'm adding to some of this, but
Right.
it's the idea of voter frustration.
Mm-hmm.
You know, especially in Atlantic City, we had promises. You know, we see one side of the town making all kind of money, and then when we live in a very marginal community. You know that the money never. I think back to Ronald Reagan and trickle down theory.
Right.
You know, and it never trickles down. It's somewhere way above in the high echelons. Whatever's supposed to be trickling down get absorbed, and we don't ever receive it.
Right.
And so, what do you say to that frustrated voter, the person who feels that we voted, we've done this, and we still don't see, changes in our local community. We don't feel it. It's not in our pocketbooks. It's not in our cupboards. We look at our streets and our streets. So what do you say to the frustrated voter who may be feeling that way and say, I'll just vote for the change of government just to see if the change brings a change. So, what's your words to them?
That's a good question. I say like President Clinton said, former President Bill Clinton, I feel your pain. The same frustration that you have, I have. Even though I'm an elected official, president of the NAACP, I'm still a taxpayer. I'm still a resident of Atlantic City. I'm still an engaged person in civics. And government does move too slow. Change does come too slow. But I know that we can't give up. We have to keep moving forward because to drop out is not the answer, because that means that the forces who want to push us back win. To stop voting doesn't help us, because again, those forces who are spending millions of dollars all over the country to stop us from voting, that means they win. Yes, change is slow. This is 2022. We see that some of the things that we thought that we had, we've been pushed back. We thought that the question of Roe versus Wade 50 years ago was settled, and now we see that the Supreme Court has pushed that back. Does that mean that we throw up our hands and say, no, we shouldn't struggle anymore, we shouldn't strive anymore? My answer is no, it doesn't. I understand that we're frustrated. I understand that we've seen and heard too many promises that didn't come to fruition. But I say again, Frederick Douglass said we have to struggle to move forward. Power concedes nothing without a demand. There must be a struggle, and that struggle has to be ongoing. It's like any kind of change you want. If the election, no matter who wins, is not going to bring about immediate change in a positive way, but it can bring about immediate change in a negative way. What do I mean by that? If forces that are not for the progress of people of color win and make it harder to vote, help to turn our democracy over, that hurts us. We've seen that we've had a president that refused to accept the fact that he lost the election. We saw that we had people attack the White House. This has, in my mind, troubling concerns for all of us. Even if that hadn't happened, we have problems in America being citizens, getting equal rights, moving forward on all of the disparities that we have in government. So can you imagine what happens if we let people who don't want to uphold democracy, who want to suppress the rights of people who are in the minority? We can't let that happen. Again, I feel your pain. I understand your frustration. I see the streets in Atlantic City. I was just talking to a constituent the other day. He said, Councilman, how come we can't pave the streets? And my honest, direct answer was, sir, if we had the money, we would pave every street in Atlantic City. So put yourself in our position as elected official. Wouldn't you want to have the streets paved and smooth? Wouldn't you want to have a crime-free community? I don't think that's a hard question to answer. The answer is yes, everyone would want that. I would say that progress is coming. There are good things that are down the road. Most of the streets will be paved as soon as we can get money. There's a list that we can put out of streets that are on the list to be paved. Some of them would have been paid. Let me say this, I'm glad that that's came up. One of the reasons that we haven't paid some streets is because the MUA, the Municipal Utility Authority, has to do work with pipes under the street. And if we had paved the streets, they would have to come back and dig the streets up to do the pipes. So that's one of the reasons that's holding us up. And again, and also because of lack of funds that we're working with grants. So I say this. Of course, you have the right in America not to vote. You have the right in America not to participate. You have the right in America to be so frustrated that you just throw your hands up and say it doesn't make a difference. But I would respectfully suggest that that's not the reality. It does make a difference. Your vote does count. It makes a difference who's in the White House, who's in the county courthouse, who's in the city hall office, who your council person is. It makes a difference. And that's why people, outside forces, want to make a change. That's why they want to take over and have control. They want to push down and suppress your vote so their policies can move forward. So I would say let's persevere, let's move forward, hold people accountable. Voting is important, election day is important, but after people get elected, you need to reach out to them. I can tell you one thing, Reverend, you know, in the 3rd Ward, my constituents, they reach out to me, they call me, I send them my newsletter, they are engaged, and I respond. And that's the way, and I'm not saying my other colleagues don't respond, I'm just speaking for myself as a 3rd Ward elected official. That's what you have to do. You have to hold people accountable. You have to be aware of the issues. You have to attend the meetings when you can. And somebody said, well, Councilman, I can't attend the meeting, I'm working. You can call your elected official. You can email your elected official and ask them to do what you think needs to be done in your best interest.
Well, thank you so much, Councilman, my good friend and my brother.
Right.
I do have to acknowledge, you know, I may mention one of your sisters, Sister Diane, but your other sister, Sandra, was also watching as well, and we give a shout out to her. All the way in D.C., we're grateful for you being a part of this program today. I do want to remind you all that, you know, we have some little technical difficulties at the 11 o'clock service. You might have missed it on Facebook, but it is on Facebook now. It is on YouTube. And so if you missed it at 8 o'clock and it didn't come on, you can go back and you can get it on Facebook now, and you can watch it on YouTube. Thank you so much. Let me give you a heads up. This Sunday, the Inspirational Choral Ensemble, they're going to be having their annual day at 11 o'clock service. We're looking forward to that as well. And I hope all of them come back and do a great, you know, I'm looking forward to that. But thank God for each and every one of you for sharing with us tonight. We really enjoyed you. Please take this information. It is so important. It's so important. And again, we always thank our good friend for coming and sharing with us. We pray that all is well. My daughter made a great banana pudding. I'm going to rush home now and get some of that banana pudding. And I already had one big bowl. I'm going to get another big bowl, and then I'm going to call it an evening. But bless everyone tonight. May God bless you real good, and see you next time.